Good to go.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to reconvene the County Board of Elections. Today is Monday, November 27th. At our last meeting, we had recessed, and so I'll call the meeting back to order. Please call the roll.
Frank Perry,
Present.
Commissioner Bury.
Present. We have a quorum to proceed. Item number 1C, public comments. Anyone have any comments or questions for the election board? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to the minutes of Monday, November 6th. Since this is a continuation of the previous meeting, do we need to approve the minutes, or do we want to add the minutes from today to that and approve it at the next meeting?
I mean, that's up to you.
I would say let's add them. Can you do that?
We can,
Yes, technically it's the same
Yeah.
meeting.
okay,
Um,
we can add it to the
But
next.
just to refresh our memory, on November 6th, which was the day before the general election, we met. Mr. Germaini gave the election director's report, and the courthouse opened at 7 a.m. on November 7th for pre-canvassing. We had talked about the polling places that were changed, the total number of voters. The return board has met and the meeting was recessed. Now, we have a resolution attached. Well, let's go into the election director's report first, item number 2 on the agenda. And then I have a question before we talk about the resolution.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mr. Germaini, what do you have for us this morning?
The election was very successful. We had a couple of complaints that we need to look into, but overall, it was a very good election. And once again, I have to say, everybody congratulates me on the election. It's not me, it's everybody in the courthouse, my staff, the poll workers, every office is involved in the elections. I want to personally thank them. So without that, we would not have a smooth election. The other thing that I have on is that the law that just passed about undated ballots, still need some guidance on that. I have 3 ballots that are undated that could be counted into the certification. So I do not have the 3 in the certification right now because I didn't know about the ruling. I already certified through the state, then the ruling came through, and it was right before Thanksgiving. So everybody was on break, and I didn't get any guidance on that, what to do. The solicitor told me to count them, but those 3 are not in the totals of that I have to certify. So I don't know how we want to handle that.
Let me just summarize what happened is, under the election calendar, today we were supposed to certify the results. As Mr. Germaini stated, we just got guidance from the Commonwealth Court and the State Election Directors Association and the County Commissioners Association last week that there was a new case where Commonwealth Court said mail-in ballots that had a signature but without a date should be counted. My question to you is, have we reached back out to the Department of State to see, because all counties are facing this situation, they still want us to certify the election results today, or will they give us an extension to certify the results until such
I
time?
have not heard from anything.
Can we reach out to the state, and even though the solicitor is out of town today, see if we can reach him by phone as well for guidance? I don't want to certify without checking with the state to see if we can get an extension because of this court ruling.
I agree.
Is that all right, Mr. Perry?
I have one question. Could that ruling be appealed?
Well, that's the trouble with these election law cases, you know, after the election, we're supposed to certify the results, remember back to the 2020 presidential election, and then lawsuits and appeals drag on, but at some point, you've got to certify the results as they come in. Well, you've only been here a few years. I would say, has there been a case where we certified the results of the election and then later, due to a court ruling, had to file an amended certified results of the election?
I have no memory of that. Susie, do you have any memory of that? Susie's been here longer than me.
I don't either. I've been here 53 years. I don't have no memory of that.
The good news is Lawrence County only received 3 ballots that were signed but not dated. And none of the races where those ballots came from were down to, you know, I don't believe it would affect the outcome of any races.
It will not, no. I already checked.
But I'd still like to place a call to the solicitor and to the Pennsylvania Department of State Bureau of Elections to see if we can get an extension on certifying the results or whether we should certify it and then submit an updated certification.
I agree.
I agree with that too.
All right, that's how we'll proceed. Unfortunately, we're gonna delay certifying the results.
Okay.
Now, I do want to bring up, we did get 2 complaints, and I'll state what the complaints are for the record. One, do you have the letter that we got? One regarded translators at the polls. And do you have any objection to me reading this
I
letter?
do not. No, it's public.
Let me read this letter that we got. This was from Maria Delgado Santana. She emailed a complaint to Mr. Germaini as county elections director. Well, first of all, she says on 11/6/23, I worked as an interpreter. Election day was 11/7.
Correct.
So she was working the day before the election, or she means
Not
all
that I
election?
know. She was-
Anyway, I'm reading it exactly as she sent it. On 11/6/23, which was Monday, the day before the election, I worked as an interpreter at the Presbyterian Church on Highland Avenue, and I have also floated throughout the different locations where our interpreters were stationed. This morning when I came in, I was asked by a poll worker if I was voting. I said, no, I am here as an interpreter. She answered, oh, for what? Latinos don't vote. I said to her, whether they vote or not, it is law that we have interpreters at the polls in all counties where needed. Note, just recently there was a lawsuit in York County, PA due to lack of interpretation, etc. Second incident, while I was at Highland this evening, one of the poll workers had several discussions with different voters about their last names. A Latino woman with 2 last names approached the table and gave the poll worker her last name. The poll worker was annoyed because there were 2 last names and did not understand why. The woman told her, those are my legal names. There was some further conversation which I was not able to capture. The poll worker was very rude to her and the woman was very annoyed. The poll worker made an unnecessary statement. It was as follows. I don't understand why these people have 2 last names. The woman left very annoyed. Third incident. This was with a Caucasian woman. This woman had 2 last names as well, one of which was a Spanish last name. The poll worker asked why she had 2 last names. The woman stated, I love using my family's name and it is my legal name. The woman's husband was very upset and asked for the judge of elections. Actually, they were both upset because of the poll worker questioning why she has 2 last names. If you have any questions, please contact me. Thank you. Maria Delgado. Let me,
Also, these were for the problem sheets from the judge.
now just for clarification, Highland Avenue, that's 2-3.
2.
Second Ward, 2nd Precinct in the
Correct.
city of Newcastle.
Mhm.
And this was submitted by the judge of elections?
Yeah, that's what we call the problem sheet, that if there's any problems during election day, they jot them down and that we get to look at them after elections. And I thought it was pertinent to this complaint as well. So I presented it.
There's 4 issues on here. The one,
They were mostly addressed here.
yes, covered in the letter. One voter stated that the election worker remarked, I don't know why people have to use 2 last names. Another voter, same as above. Maria Delgado, the interpreter, the election worker asked her who she interpreted for. And then after Maria answered, the election worker said Latinos don't vote. And then a 4th voter The voter and their spouse were upset, felt his wife had been harassed over several years by the election worker questioning 2 last names.
That was from a different area.
And then in election precinct 4-2, a voter stated Spanish speaking only, no Spanish ballot in box, got assistance.
Well, we're not,
But look, yeah, let's clarify what the law is.
the law is 5% of your voting population. If you have 5% of a different ethnicity, or Spanish speaking, however you want to look at it, 5% of the whole voting population, pardon me, that's when you're required to have all of this in place.
Ballots printed in the other language and
Everything,
interpreted.
everything, yes.
We do not meet that 5%
We do
threshold.
not even come close.
So Lawrence County did have an influx of some Spanish-speaking residents who are eligible to vote, mainly from Puerto Rico. But we're not required by law to have ballots in Spanish, but we do provide in several precincts by request of the Latino Affairs Commissioner. We did provide interpreters at 4 precincts, correct?
That's correct, yes.
So that's what these issues came up on.
Yes.
Is the interpreter using in precinct?
Not in these past elections, no.
Seems like only one
That was the only one.
one person
Yeah,
in 4th Ward, 2nd Precinct actually used the assistance of the interpreter.
well, that's what, they're not even there, so he must have had somebody with him. Or her, I don't know who it was again.
That got assistance.
Yeah,
So
so they
maybe a
must have had
family
some-
member or a friend.
Something like that, yeah, yeah. But
So go ahead.
But if somebody would need assistance, I have an in-house interpreter as well, so I can always get somebody to a poll quick enough if they needed assistance. So we're accommodating to everything.
Right. The point is, we're in compliance with the law. We
Yes.
go above and beyond and provide
Yeah, we do.
translation at some precincts where there may be multiple Spanish-speaking
Mhm.
voters. And then we also have, like you said, an interpreter standby.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any recommendations how to respond to this complaint? My contention is it doesn't sound like anything illegal was done.
No,
I believe that we should do additional training for all of our poll workers. This is a very much more common phenomenon now where people have 2 last names because of due to marriage, due to being Hispanic tradition of using the mother's and father's last name. So I think we should provide some additional training before the next election for all of our workers, how to handle voters with 2 legal last names, and to make them understand that they shouldn't interject their personal opinion. When they're there, they're working on behalf of the county Board of Elections and Elections Office, and they need to be respectful and considerate to all voters that come to vote.
I would agree with that.
I
Gary, do you have any other
100%.
thoughts on that?
I agree 100%.
Well, I
Well,
think-
these polls, excuse me.
Yes.
At these places that have problems, do you know if they get a hold of their constables or anything?
There was nothing to get a constable for. I mean, you look at it, it's almost like somebody's opinion.
So they're not really arguing with the,
No, I mean,
no.
there was nothing illegal done inside the polling spot. As far as I know, there was nothing physical, there was no altercation like that. But as Commissioner says, there needs to be some form of sensitivity training on how to handle that situation. Because it's gonna occur more and more.
You're gonna really need it for the next election.
Absolutely.
Presidential election.
Absolutely, and I'm gearing up for it right now, so, yeah, for sure.
All right, we will draft a letter to respond to this individual, but other than offering additional training to our staff and letting them thank this individual, Maria Delgado Santana, for sharing her experience on election day, I think that's how we should proceed on that one. The only call I got that day, a committee person called me and asked, do we have translators at the polls? And I explained that there are 4 precincts where we did arrange to have Spanish translators there. And they said, oh, they just didn't realize that. Thanks for letting them know.
Right.
And so that was the only other issue I was aware of. And then I was made aware of later that day of Ms. Delgado's concerns about the comments that she overheard. So,
Yes.
and we want every Lawrence County resident who's a registered voter to be able to come and vote and not experience any kind of negative comments or remarks like
Yeah,
that.
I
So
don't want anybody.
we will, the board directs you to include the training that it is more common and be respectful. When somebody registers to vote, and this is confusing because I dealt with this in a state agency. Many people's names are much longer today. Many people have hyphenated last names. Many people have 2 legal last names. So if it's not hyphenated, say the last name is Hernandez Lopez, are they filed alphabetically under the first legal last name or under the second legal last name?
We file them under the second one.
So just so we have clear instructions that say how, if somebody comes in and gives their name, how we have them listed in the voter books.
Well, we file in the main paper folder, or, our Rolodex of all voters that we have, we keep a paper record. That's how we file them physically. Computer wise in the state, it's gonna go by.
I would say what we should do is find out how the Department of State recommends you handle that. I would think, and it's common sense, that we always look at the last name, the last name,
Yeah.
and follow it by that. But I think many people alphabetically go by the first last name.
Yes,
So we should be consistent with the way the state puts it in their database.
that's fine, yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Any other discussion on that issue? Move on to the next issue. I wasn't aware of the second issue until after the election.
Was I?
A voter came up to me after the election was over several days later and said, did you get any of these text messages? And I said, no, I didn't get any text messages. That's a relatively new way for people to campaign. And I guess I found out there's companies that you can hire that'll send text messages to the voters in your county. And someone else showed me a text they got from one candidate and it clearly said paid for by this candidate. However, it comes out that there was 5 or 6.
I got 5.
We have 5 text messages and we'll make copies available for anyone who's interested. They were negative texts telling people, basically trying to influence votes for or against. It looks like these texts were trying to entice people to vote against Chris Sonato, a candidate for county commissioner. And the problem is none of these texts state who paid for them or who sent them.
That's the problem.
So what do you recommend? I believe that we need to refer these to the district attorney's office to investigate to see if they can determine who sent these, because in my opinion, they may have violated election law, which clearly states any ads must state, even though this is a new way of advertising.
It's still advertising. Go ahead, there's the section there, I found.
This is from section 1638 under the Pennsylvania Campaign Finance Reporting Law. Whenever any person makes an expenditure for the purpose of financing communications expressly advocating the election or defeat of a candidate or ballot questions through any broadcasting station, newspaper, magazine, outdoor advertising facility, direct mailing, or any other type of general public political advertising, such communication, 1, if authorized by the candidate, his authorized political committee or agent shall clearly and conspicuously state the communication has been authorized. 2, if not authorized by a candidate, his authorized political committee or his agent shall clearly and conspicuously state the name of the person who made or financed the expenditure for the communication, including, in the case of a political committee, the name of any affiliated or connected organization. So obviously, these are communications advocating against the campaign of Chris Sonato for county commissioner. and they dare not say who authorized them or who paid for them. So I would like to entertain a motion to refer these texts to the district attorney for investigation and possible prosecution of whoever's behind them.
I
Do you
move
agree with
to
that? It's been moved by Mr. Vicari. I will second that motion. Any further discussion or comments?
No, not till we hear from the district attorney about it.
All right. We have a motion on the floor. Please call the roll.
Frank Vicari?
Yes,
Commissioner Buick?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Any other problems or complaints? I just want to, again, commend you and your staff. I know it's a team effort. I was here at 7 o'clock on election day. You guys were already here, and ladies already are hard at work. And we were here till after 10 o'clock election night. And I commend you and the whole team. Susan Kite, our assistant director, excellent job. As soon as each polling place returned the equipment and the thumb drive from the machines at their precinct, we were able to get them uploaded into our computer system, and we get them on the county website. I believe we were done before 10 p.m.
It's one of the fastest elections ever.
So overall, an excellent job. Frank, any other comments?
no, they did. Mr. Jermaine and his staff did an excellent job. They always do an excellent job. And the helpers in the courthouse too, we have to appreciate them.
I want to thank your staff, the maintenance department staff, and Mike and Becky in the elections office, getting everything where it needed to be, and that day, getting everything organized. And I was very pleased overall with the processing of the election. Obviously, next year is a presidential and U.S. Senate and U.S. Congress races. So I wish the
Well, that's it.
election staff well next year. But at this point, given the fact that we opened with today, we were to certify the election results, but before we do that, we would like to get further guidance from the county solicitor and from the Department of State. So, Mr. Jermaine, please reach out to your contacts in Harrisburg and ask them if they still want us to certify or to retabulate the numbers, including the undated ballots. And I will reach out to the county solicitor as well. And then I think we need to reconvene this afternoon. So I'm gonna,
Yeah,
I'd rather
I'm
do
gonna
it
ask, you'd rather do it tomorrow?
tomorrow
Well, the
morning.
only thing is, if the state says no, they still want us to certify the results by today.
yeah.
I know, and you won't be here this afternoon.
I can't even,
Let's recess for 15 minutes.
Okay,
Let's reconvene at 10:40 a.m.
okay,
And you go make a phone call, I'm gonna make a phone call, and then 10:40 a.m. As chair, I declare this meeting in recess for 15 minutes. We'll reconvene at 10:40 a.m.
okay,
that's much better.
okay. All right, let me make some
You
calls.
guys can go in and get coffee if you want.
Can I ask a question outside of the,
No.
What's that?
can I ask a question? When you read that about, county authorized by.
Yes.
For this
got this email just.
I'm good too.
Yeah, that was from my liaison that called.
Okay.
He said basically the same thing that Adam, that we were talking to, that they couldn't offer us anymore.
We're, call the meeting back to order. It is Monday, November 27th at 11 a.m. I spoke to the county solicitor. He advised that we should go ahead and proceed with certifying the election results, including the undated mail-in ballots. We also got this email from the Pennsylvania Department of State. Dear County election official, as you may be aware, the United States District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania issued an opinion in order today in Pennsylvania State Conference of the NAACP et al. V. Schmidt et al. Docket number 22-00339. The opinion order attached. To the extent you have questions regarding the impact of the decision, we recommend that you consult with your county solicitor. Obviously, we'll give you a copy of this letter for the minutes.
Okay.
In addition to granting other relief, the court specifically enjoined the secretary from directing all county boards of elections of the Commonwealth to segregate, reject, exclude, or in any way not count timely received mail ballots based on a voter's error or omission in relation to the date on the voter declaration on the mail ballot return envelope. Therefore, please disregard any previously issued guidance from the department that is inconsistent with this direction. As a reminder, certification of returns for the 2023 municipal election is due on Monday, November 27th, 2023. With warmest regards, Jonathan Marks, Deputy Director for Elections Commissions, Office of the Secretary, Pennsylvania Department of State. So having said that, you were able to open, we had how many? 3 or 4?
4.
4 ballots were timely but not dated, and you then went and opened those ballots, and you added the votes cast for the judge, statewide judge races.
Yes.
All right, so you have numbers for us to vote. We have in our packets Resolution 2023. Chris, you know what resolution number that would be?
08.
Be Resolution 08 of 2023, whereas pursuant to the Pennsylvania Election Code, the Lawrence County Board of Elections is required to certify the results of the general election held on November 7th, 2023. And whereas Tim Germaini, the Lawrence County Elections Director, provided to the board that all votes have been counted, therefore be it resolved, the Lawrence County Board of Elections does hereby certify the results of the general election held on November 7th, 2023. Do I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the minutes.
Moved by Mr. Piccari. I will second the motion. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Any questions?
No.
Please call the roll.
Frank Piccari?
Yes.
Commissioner Björn?
Yes,
Motion carries.
motion carries. All right. Mr. Germaini, do you need any other action from the Board of Elections?
Signatures.
All right. At this time, I will entertain well, let's sign real quick and then I need a motion to adjourn.
Then I'll take care of the rest.
So no county or municipal election results were changed from the winners of any of the local races did not change due to these.
No, the tiebreakers were the same. Everything was fine.
Can you say where the 4 were?
I can, but I'm not offhand. Let's go look and see. 2 from Shenango, 1 from Elwood City, and 1 from Neshannock. Don't quote me. I really have to look. Okay. Go bring it up. Because I was kind of in a whirlwind to figure out what we were going to do. So, but we're good. Like I said, the numbers changed. At least for the state race by 2.
You will email what you need to do to the state elections office.
Yes, I'm gonna do that right now.
Is there any other business to come before the Board of Elections?
Do we move to get this to the DA?
We already voted to refer these texts to the district attorney of Lawrence County for investigation of possible violation of the Pennsylvania campaign finance reporting law. We did pass a motion to.
Okay. I'll get on the phone with him and go from there.
All right, Mr. Piccari, anything else?
No, that's it.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. This meeting's adjourned as of 11:05 a.m.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you both. I apologize, I got people waiting for me upstairs.
No, it's all right. I get it. man.
Frank, will you sign this resolution?
Good to see you, John.
Recorded,
Yeah, we do.
I'm in the picture there.
try not to.
Or has a meeting 11.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Debbie? Oh,
Yeah.
There you go.
Just been
See ya.
here.
Thank you.
I'll check and put, you know.